Shri Īśopaniṣad, we have 18 mantras and we have done 5. And then now we are moving on to the 6th one, which is a bit different theme. So we will see what happens there. Let's get further. Let's do the Mangala Charan and then we shall start mantra 6. अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानजनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथवितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सवादूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखावितं च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरुदेव महाराज की जय। जय जय श्री राधेश्याम। Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this session of Shri Īśopaniṣad Mantra 6. So we have already seen Mantra 1, 2 and 3 as one theme, where we understand the concept that everything belongs to Krishna. What happens if we live with that concept, Īśāvasyam principle, and what if we will not live in that concept? This is from Shri Īśopaniṣad itself. Then moving on to the next segment of Shri Īśopaniṣad, block of 18 mantras, the second block where we are from 4 to 8, which says that the Ishwar, the Lord, the God, Krishna, can be understood by spiritual vision only. Right? There's an anecdote here. Somebody asked Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada used to go on morning walks, evening walks, and because he was always in Krishna consciousness, his disciples used to walk with him, used to record audio recording, and there used to be other devotees writing down all his replies, question and answer segments. So somebody asked Srila Prabhupada that why did you put this name as International Society of Krishna Consciousness? So there are two things there. Why Krishna and why consciousness? We understand the rest of this. It's an international society. Even though when Prabhupada put it first time, it was a very humble and very small place, and nobody could say that one day it will become international. And So still we can understand the aspirations that one day it will, international society. But why international society of Krishna consciousness? Why Krishna and why consciousness? So for consciousness, Prabhupada ji said that we need to be conscious before we become Krishna conscious. And doesn't really matter what we do, if our consciousness is not there with us, purified consciousness, then it's just another useless rites and rituals we have added to our day, which means if we think about it, we do so many spiritual, not only us, but within the human race, different kind of spiritual activities going on, not only in Vedic culture, but those non-Vedic as well. Everybody claims to be spiritual, but are we conscious while doing it? Are we conscious? And our consciousness is a bit different than alertness, awareness. Sometimes people think that because I'm aware, that means I'm conscious. Conscious spiritually, what consciousness means is a bit further than that. Consciousness means that we understand the true nature of ourselves. We act as a spirit soul rather than the material body, if we can, which means, how do we know that? We will exhibit qualities like that, like Swami Vivekananda ji, like Srila Prabhupada ji. When Srila Prabhupada ji went there in America, he didn't see the bodies. He saw everyone as their spirit soul, and he saw Krishna in form of super soul, Paramatma, in everyone, regardless of the bodies, how the body appears, whether the body belongs to an Indian or American or Chinese or German. Everyone got Krishna conscious soul inside, even though the person is not conscious of it. Maybe the Krishna consciousness, love for Krishna is dormant. And that's why he said, I will just rekindle. I'm not giving you anything new. It has always been there within you. It's just that you were not conscious enough to realize it. And that's what we are saying, that it's needs to be conscious. If we do all the prayers, all the chantings, but our consciousness is not there. If we're just doing it for material benefits, maybe because some they do, then that's not consciousness. That's not Krishna consciousness. That's material consciousness, maybe, because like even when a cat about to jump on a pigeon, pigeon could fly, cat could not. But still, how a cat could manage to get hold of pigeon? Because of that awareness, maybe because of that consciousness. But that consciousness is polluted because that consciousness is acting on behalf of her or his cat body. That I need to feed this body. So that's not the consciousness Srila Prabhupada mentioned. Srila Prabhupada referred to the Krishna consciousness, spiritual consciousness. But then why only Krishna? And the other part is, why not say God consciousness? Why not Lord consciousness? Why not soul consciousness? And Srila Prabhupada made it very clear that a lot of scriptures are there and they refer differently to the Lord. So it's very, very much required to let everyone knows that whom those scriptures are referring to. For example, this is Shri Īśopaniṣad, and hence it says Ishvara. But when we see Krishna consciousness, we will understand that that Ishvara has been referred to as Krishna, which is very similar than in a company sometime, or even in the temple. We call this is the temple president. But that temple president got a name as well, right? So temple president is just a placeholder, but Ishwar is not a placeholder because no one could become Ishwar. Ishwar is only one, and Ishwar got a name as well, which is Krishna. So the Ishwar can be understood by spirit soul only, spirit vision only. So this is very similar than what we have seen in Bhagavad Gita, that Arjuna asked Krishna, how can I understand? I would like to see. And Krishna said, I will give you a spiritual vision. And through scriptures, the Acharyas, Ved Vyasji, they have given us the spiritual vision, which is required to understand Krishna. And then Srila Prabhupada ji has given purpose through which we can understand Ishwar. So 4 to 8, and then subdivided 4 to 5, which we have seen that how it's inconceivable, like it's beyond what we said. We cannot understand Krishna. Krishna is far, Krishna is near, Krishna walks, Krishna doesn't walk. How is that possible? And we have seen the example of sun, that it's possible, but still very hard for us to understand that way. Then now we are moving to the next section, which is 6 and 7, which says, first, develop spiritual vision by seeing worldly changes, worldly things, events, people with equanimity. This is that again equal vision. We discussed in past, we call it, where somebody is in that consciousness, that state of mind, where the person could see everyone equally. Again, the example of Srila Prabhupada ji has referred that he could see everyone as souls, not American, Chinese, German, French, Ukrainian, Russian. No, everyone has the soul. Now that's a spiritual. But what we're saying here, that at least try to understand people in the form of material. Now, how is that possible? We see people rich, we see people poor materially, like worldly things, worldly events, worldly people. How can we do it? And there are various ways of doing it, but this is how we can. This is how we can get to the level, because spiritually it might be hard for us, but at least worldly, because we don't even have to make any consciousness, any special effort to get into worldly things, events, and people. We are always in them, right? So somebody said that, oh, Prabhupada ji, sometimes I fall in Maya. Prabhupada ji said, no, that's not the case. You are always in Maya. Sometimes you raise in Krishna consciousness. And more you will associate yourself with sadhu, sangha, guru, sadhu, sangha, the devotees, the scriptures, the association. You will gradually spend more time in that elevated Krishna consciousness rather than spending your life in that material consciousness in Maya. So we are always in Maya. And this is what we're saying. At least we can see things on an equal state manner. This is what says in Bhagavad Gita as well. I think chapter 5, verse 20, which says that the one who is liberal or liberated, like Buddha, that person, or even a highly elevated devotee, that person could see an elephant, a dog eater, what we call chandal, and a cow on an equal state, So we have discussed this, that in these, all the 4 mentioned, living beings mentioned, they show the different grades, like dog and cow. Cow is respected, holy cow. Dog, nobody would like to, especially these street dogs, right? Similar thing with the dog eater. Dog eater is supposed to be chandala. Nobody would like to even have a vision of it. And then the elephant, the people, not only people, even the deities. So they go on top of the kings, royal kings. They used to go in India on top of elephant. Now, what a big difference. One is considered auspicious, one is inauspicious. So what if we could develop, and this is what Bhagavad Gita chapter 5 verse 20 says, that somebody who can see with that pose, which means that we can imagine how beautiful the life could be. We will not differentiate. We will love and care for our neighbor's children just as we care for our children, right? We will serve other parents just like we serve our parents. And if we could do it, and any spiritual person we will see, that person will reach to that, because that's what is spirituality, the true spirituality will give us, right? And this is for our own benefit. So this is verse 6 and 7, but we will get into 6, which is a beautiful verse. And Yastu Sarvani Bhutani. Let's get to the next one, which is where we have beautiful translation as well. And I've skipped, if we have the book, Srila Prabhupada has given word-to-word translation, right? Sarva Bhuteshu, Sarvani Bhutani. Sarva is for everyone, right? So this is why it says that everyone, this will include everyone. It means we are not jealous of anyone. Like, think of it. If we put money in our left pocket or right pocket, does it matter? No, it's my pocket, right? I can, both belong to me. I can access it from left side. I can access it from right side. How about if I put it in my shirt's pocket or trousers pocket? Does it matter? No. All right. Okay. How about if I put it in my bank account? Well, okay, still mine, right? I can use it. Do we use it? In our cupboard, it says that the number of clothes we have, we hardly use 20%, and we only use 10% regularly. I can certainly say for myself, because I've put a lot away, and I only have few things on top, and I just circulate them, regulate them, and that's it. Don't really need more. But still, because of the desire to have it, we accumulate. And if we get rid of it, and because we've been lucky enough to move. So me personally, I've been moving around. We were in Sheffield, and then Cambridge, Hull, went overseas. We were in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Muscat, came back to Dubai. Well, actually, family has always been in Dubai. I was the one who moving. And then we were in Paris, and that's where we were together with the family. And then we came back here in London. So moving all these times, one of the fortunate things which happened, we got detached from things. We understood how, even if we were attached, we had to give them away. We had to. And then when we moved to, every time we moved to a new place, we said, okay, this time we will keep it to the minimum. But again, slowly, gradually, well, of course, we have the growing kids, so they always have new things coming up because they grow out of clothes, the scriptures, the literatures they read. But still, we can say that we have more than we need. So those who've been living in the same place for a long, long time, it's very hard. It's very hard. But this verse reminds us that if we get detached from material things, but if we widen our perspective, then we can see the money in our pocket, money in our bank, money in the shirt, money in the trousers, the same. How about whether this money is in our pocket or in somebody else's pocket? Of course, money in our pocket is going to serve us. Money in somebody else's pocket might not serve us, right? But can serve us. It happens a lot of time. But what the verse is trying to get to, that excess we have, if we only use 20%, that 80% we have, we don't really need it. How about if we start sharing with others? That's like money in our pocket, which is going to get to somebody else because we don't need it. And sometimes that's like money in somebody else's pocket, which could come to us. And that's when we have Sarvani Bhutani, Sarva Bhuteshu, everyone's, right? He who systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, right? The money in my left pocket, right pocket, top pocket, in the bank belongs to me. But the money in my pocket, money in somebody else's pocket, money in everyone's pocket belong to the Lord. If we can see that, can we? And not only money, all the clothes. Well, another anecdote from Srila Prabhupada, somebody said that why can't I enjoy my life with my family members? Prabhupada said, okay, good. So do you enjoy with your wife? And he said, yes. And then Prabhupada said, do you agree that every person belongs to Krishna? And he said, yes. I said, well, is your wife belong to Krishna as well? And the person started thinking, Prabhupada used to do that. And then he thought and he said, yes. I said, well, why are you enjoying somebody who belongs to Krishna? Have you taken permission? And then he started thinking again. Then Prabhupada said, it's all right, you're married, so you have taken permission. And all right, okay, yes. But then Prabhupada said, but still remember that everything and everyone belongs to Krishna. Your kids, they, and a lot of time parents do it. Somebody in America, it's been a while now. I mean, it's been like 15 years. I don't know if anything new happened. About 15 years, roughly 15 years back, somebody went to court and said that I would like to sue my parents because they didn't ask for my permission before bringing me to this world. And this world is nothing but suffering. And I thought, wow. He understood a bit of, because you need to get to that level where you understand that this world is suffering. This is what Buddha said it as well. The very first thing is we need to understand this is a dukhalya. This is a place where we will always be suffered. But we have to take the next step, that we have to understand the source of suffering and then go away, get rid of it. But he took the wrong turn. He sued his parents. But this is what Srila Prabhupada said. Parents should never think that these child, I'm the source of these child. I've given birth to these children. No, well, if you think about it, Krishna has done it. Krishna has planned it. I mean, we can do a few activities to get the child born. Even once the child is born, even when child is there in mother's womb, who takes care of it? Who does? Parikshit Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam said that Parikshit Maharaj saw Krishna in the womb. And that's why his name is Parikshit. Parikshit means somebody who's verifying, because when he opened his eyes, when he was born, he was looking at everyone. And he was verifying who is that person who came to me in the womb. And then when he saw Krishna, he said, Hari. So he who systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, who sees all living entities as his parts and parcels, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being. Now, such a beautiful thing. Such a beautiful thing. In my childhood, I remember another friend of mine was there. Either I was at his place, I must have been here at his place, and he was just going from his room. He was going from one place to another. He was running late. I was waiting for him, and he just hit the chair. And then I thought, what happened there? And he started screaming on the chair. And then since then, I've seen many people doing it. Many people, not only chair, but many other things. If they hit the table, even in the office, they hit the table. If the stapler in the office is not working, people say, stupid stapler, not working for me. I mean, really? That table hit you, that chair hit you? And I said to my friend that day, I said, well, you should be sorry to that chair. He said, what? I said, yeah. That chair been sitting there serving you, it wasn't the chair which hit you. It was you who hit the chair. Chair was just there. And he just laughed. And of course, I didn't realize what I said that day. But many years later, when I got to understand it, I thought, wow, that's powerful. And this is why it says here, if we understand everything, it's everything, not only every being, everything, anything. We'll understand everything is there from Krishna. I mean, imagine when we have the family gatherings, we are so happy. Why? Because we know the family members are all around us. When we have the friends together, everyone is friend. Imagine if we go out in the world and whoever we see, we understand we belong to the same Father, Krishna. It's like the whole world is our family. Of course, in Krishna consciousness, we feel it because wherever we go, temples are there, devotees are there. So when we went to Dwarka recently, we stayed in everywhere. We stayed in the temple, apart from one place where we couldn't find the temple in Somnath. So we stayed in the Somnath Trust temple. But everywhere else, Ahmedabad, Rajkot, and Dwarka of course, the temple association, the deity association, and the association of devotees who were there. That helps us. You feel like a part of the family. And this is what this verse gets to. To understand this verse better, Srila Prabhupada gave us the definition of different levels of devotees. And this is based on consciousness. This is not based on the experience. This is not based on the number of years somebody been in Krishna consciousness or in his spirituality in general. So Srila Prabhupada, and these words are given in the Shastras. It says Kanishta, which is Kanisht, is somebody who's new, who is a junior, who is young. And in English, we also say neophyte, somebody very new, neophyte. And the second one is Madhyam. Madhyam is middle, who is not new, but who is not an expert yet, Madhyam. But then we have Uttam, Uttama. That's the topmost. That's how good you can get. Like in the sports, sometimes people say, well, or he has achieved what anyone could achieve. Like it's not possible to achieve more than that. And that's why he has done. We can say that for Srila Prabhupada. In the given time, like he didn't have much, 40 rupees he had at around the age of 70 when he went to America. And just in 10 years before he departed, he had opened like more than 108 temples in 108 locations. 10 years. Most of the new ventures, they get closed within first 3 years. Most of the entrepreneurships within 3 years. He stayed for 10 years and in 108 places, and now 108 countries, more than that, of course. So he would be a great example of Uttamadhikari, who is like a pure devotee. Right? He got it. He's never going to fall down. He's Buddha. He's liberated. He's the one for whom this verse applies. He's in here is referred to that Uttamadhikari. Uttam, the topmost devotee who systematically sees everything in relation. Systematically means that he knows the reason. It's not superficially, or somebody said it, oh, I read it, or I heard it. That's why I pretend to be like that. No, he systematically sees everything in relation to the Lord. Everything. And because everything is part and parcel. This is what Krishna said it in Bhagavad Gita as well. Amsha, right? Part and parcel, everything. So we will get into a lot more details in each of them, Kanishta, Madhya, and Uttam. And as we can see, paragraph 1, 2, and 3. Very briefly, Prabhupada has explained here, but in Srimad Bhagavatam, it has been explained in a lot more detail. And some of those verses have been referred. So I think Prabhupada didn't refer the verse directly, but he has given the gist of those verses in the purports here. But I've given some of those verses as well. So we will mention them as well. So the goal, if we say, is to reach to that level of consciousness. Again, it's not, so for example, when we say Brahmin is not someone who's born in Brahmin family, right? And there is a beautiful story in Upanishad where a son goes and spend, I think, a few years, like 3 years, learning everything from his teacher and came back. Udkala, Utkala is I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's a beautiful Sanskrit word. That's the name of the person. And when the child, the son, comes back, he learned everything and he's the expert now. And when, like usually sometimes comes like in India, it happens in India and it happens here in UK as well, I think. I could be wrong, but Ratan Tata, for example, when his son came out from the university and the very first time got the journalists together in the press conference, somebody asked a journalist that what advice you would like to give your son. And when I heard it, I was in university, so I was thrilled. So he said, this is like the successful Ratan Tata. I think it was Ratan Tata who said that, well, my son has just come out of university learning new things. I won't give him advice. I will look for his passion and the new ideas he has. And you understand that even at that age, he was willing to learn from the new generation. I think similar thing from here in London, from Lord Sugar. Lord Sugar, he said similar thing for his son, that now his son has come out and he has given his aviation business to his son. And somebody said that, well, what advice you are giving to him before or while handing over this business? He said, I'm looking for his advice now. He has gone to university. I never went to university. So, and of course, that time when I got successful was different than this time. And he got the latest technology learned in the university. So I'm looking forward from him. So a lot of time when the kids, they come out, they think that the parents are outdated. They do. Like these days, children, they all are great experts in mobile phones and technology. They always love to help the parents and they cherish those moments. So in the Upanishads, this child, Utkara, the son, did the same thing. When he came back, he was full of self-ego, that I've learned all that. My father, he's old. And when the father, he noticed that his son got that self-ego boosted. He thought that the time he spent learning all those scriptures got wasted. So he said, he asked the question from his son. Why? He said, have you learned that after which nothing else needs to be learned? And the son thought about it. He said, have I learned that after which nothing else needs to be learned? And the son said, I don't know what you're talking about. I've learned everything. I'm expert now in everything which my guru could teach me and what he has taught me. And then father said, you came back. When you went, you didn't have any weightage on you. But you have come back now with the weightage of that knowledge on you. In a spiritual realization, you need to go very light. But unfortunately, you got the burden added on to you, which is the burden of your knowledge. Go back now and ask your teacher to teach that thing after which nothing else needs to be learned. And when he went back, his teacher, long story, his teacher taught him something, or his teacher sent him somewhere. And when he came back, he learned that thing, that state of consciousness was called Brahman realization. And that's where you see everything. In everyone, you can see Brahman. You can see the existence of everyone in Brahman, and you can see that you are one among all, and you are part and parcel of Krishna, and every source of everything is Krishna. So it's the consciousness rather than the age, rather than the experience, which makes somebody Kanishta, Madhya, Uttam. It has happened before, it happens now as well, and I'm pretty sure it will happen in future as well, that some devotees, they've been on Madhyam level for a long time, and some other will become the Kanishta, and work hard on the consciousness, better observation, better surrenderness on the instructions given by Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, and will very quickly become Madhya and go past and become Uttama. And some others, they will stay as Kanishta and Madhyam for a long time. Certainly. It's like when we are driving the car on the same road, we notice that some of the cars, they have just joined motorway, they were behind us, and now they have overtaken us. And maybe they will reach to the destination before us. But the good thing is, it's not a race. It's not a competition. The good thing is the relation we got with the Lord is one-to-one. Right? And if you think about that, then there is no spiritual anxiety. We will not, because if you go back, it says, who sees all living entities as his parts and parcels, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being. Which means when we will see somebody, when we will see a Kanishta getting to the level of Madhyam and progressing further, we will be happy. Why? Because we will get inspired. Wow, if he could do it, I could do it. If she could do it, I could do it. Right? But it's a personal relationship with Krishna, and it's a personal experience and personal journey, which all of us doing. So that's Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam. Now get to the each, and let's discuss a bit further. Kanishta Adhikari. So what Kanishta would do? It says that, as we discussed before, Kanishta is neophyte. Right? This word is important, which means the person is new, very new. The person is Kanishta, who has received Harinama initiation. Now, new doesn't mean that the person has come to the temple first time. Or some friends of mine, definitely one person who said to me, oh, I'm spiritual. I thought, that's good. And he said, he was boosting himself, which a lot of us do, knowingly or unknowingly. Oh, I'm spiritual, I'm okay. I thought, that's good. And he just continued without even being asking. He said, well, I go to the temple regularly. Nice, good. And then he added that I go to the temple every Janmashtami. And then I thought, well, that's what you mean regularly? However, that technically that's not wrong. Regularly doesn't say how frequent. Once in a year is also regular. But that person is not even considered as neophyte. Because here, Kanishta is Adhikari. Adhikari is like a responsible person. And that person has gone to the level of initiation. Right? Harinam initiation. Of course, there are, even in initiation, there are many. You aspire, so you could be there, you're aspiring to become or to take initiation. Then you take the shelter of a guru. And then, so when you are aspiring, you say, I want to be there. I want to take initiation, but I'm not sure from whom, which guru. The second level is the shelter level, where you have decided that, yes, I would like to take initiation from him or her. I want to make him or her my guru. And that's the second level. And the third, when you get the initiation, and then you get Harinama, which is the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Your Guru Maharaj would do the chanting on that new bead and give it to you. That's a blessing from the Guru. So initiation from the spiritual master, and is trying to chant the holy name. It's trying, because we need to take the holy name. Like this morning, we were having Chaitanya Charitamrita session, and there we were discussing that how it says in the scriptures that even taking the name of the Lord once can deliver us. Just once. Just once. And it has happened. Right? It has happened. Well, there are examples in the scriptures that just once somebody has taken the name, or one good deed somebody has done, or one association with a pure devotee, and the person got delivered. And yet we take the name of the Lord number of times. We chant at least 16 rounds a day, and sometimes even more. From tomorrow, Kartik month is starting. The practice is take as much as we can. But still we don't get delivered. Sometimes we don't even see any difference in us. How and why? Because it says, even if we take the name of the Lord once, but then there is an adjective added, offenseless, with full consciousness. How are we supposed to take the name? So even now, when we take the name of the Lord, when we chant, it's very hard for us to conscious. But if we could be conscious enough, if we do offenseless chanting, like the chanting is just for the pure love of it, not because we have promised our guru that we need to take the name, not something like the insurance policy, if we take the name of the Lord. And unfortunately, in COVID, a lot of people, they lost their family members, and some of the devotees, they got in touch with me and they said, why me? I've taken the name of the Lord, or I've been taking the name of the Lord for so long. Why me? And I thought, well, Krishna never said. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Arjun was there with Krishna as close as he could, or anybody could. But still, Arjun lost almost everything, right? Well, of course, then at the end, he got it, everything. But what Krishna says, I give you what's required, not what we think we need, but what Krishna thinks we need. And again, that's where the surrender comes into picture. That have we completely surrendered? Completely surrender means that we have complete faith. Like the example of a kitten and a monkey. Have you seen monkey? Monkey child, and if we go in Vrindavan, monkey child hold the monkey, right? And the monkey mother is jumping from one fence to another, one branch to another. But the monkey child is holding mother. But if we have seen kitten, the cat and kitten, the kitten doesn't do anything, but the cat get hold. The lions, they do the same with their cubs. In their mouth, they get hold of the kids, the cubs, the kittens, and then they jump from one place to another. And that child is happy. And that child has fully surrendered. Child is happy, no anxiety. That whether I gonna jump, I gonna drop. And this is what happens with kids. When we start, we hold on to the hand of the kids, so kids won't fall. Right? Kids have full faith. When we throw kids up in the air, kids fall down. They're falling down happily because they trust. They trust us. This happened with the Zen monk. It's in the movie, not the movie, the book. That one of the Zen monk got married. How the Zen monk gets married? Well, the person was in the military and started following Zenism, not Jain, but Zen, Z-E-N. It's a Buddhist, one of the Buddhist, traditional Buddhist meditation. And then he was a soldier, so he was not a monk, but he was a soldier. He got into Zen, he learned everything. And then when he got married, and those days have to cross the river to get to another place with his newly wedded wife. He was crossing the river and the waters got bad. The storm came and the boat was moving left to right. And everybody there got disturbed. Everyone, and including the newly wedded wife. And wife was thinking, what will happen? What will happen? And then she noticed her husband was sitting very calmly. And then she said, are you not afraid? And then that Zen soldier took the sword out. He was a soldier, so he had the sword. Took the soldier, his sword out and put it right next to his newly wedded wife's throat and said, I'm going to cut your throat away. And then she got not scared. She laughed. She said, you're going to kill me? You're kidding. And then he said, are you not afraid? I'm soldier. My sword is right there. I've killed many people. Are you not afraid? And she said, no, because I know you love me. I know you're not going to kill me. The soldier very calmly put the sword back and said, similarly, I know the Lord loves us. Hence, God is not going to kill us. And this troubled water is from God. And was calm. Imagine if we could be as calm as that. Well, I'm not saying that people don't die, because obviously the next part of it is that even if the Lord has decided that this is our time to go, then the part of total surrender is that if you want us to go, we will go. Like an actor in a movie. If the director says you have this role from only 35 minutes, you're not going to shout, oh, why 35 minutes? I want the role for the whole 3 hours. Oh, I want the role in the sequel as well. No, you're surrendered to the director. Director could increase, or maybe director will say, tell you what, initially it was for 35 minutes, now it's only for 25 minutes. So that surrender is what required in spirituality, in Krishna consciousness. And Kanishtadikari, the consciousness has not reached to that level where Kanishtadikari that devotee could do that complete surrender. So I would think those who contacted me there, they were still afraid. They still had that. And a lot of us do. There is nothing bad in it. Because of course, whether we are driving slowly or we are driving fast, whether we have, doesn't really matter how far we are. What matters is that we are still driving. We have not given up, right? Sometimes the construction is going on, we slow down. It's required. Sometimes in our families, we have events. We slow down, which is required. So we should always think of that. The main thing is we should not give up just because something has happened in our life. We should always, we can slow down, or maybe like the Kartik month starting from tomorrow, maybe we will speed up for a month, because we know in Kartik things will be more auspicious. And if you can visit Vrindavan, it will be even more. Everything is enhanced. Everyone is taking much more name of the Lord. But yeah, offenselessly. Right? So that's what neophyte is. One should respect such a person within his mind as Kanishta. So we say that we should. So if somebody is Madhyam, Adhikari, then first of all, no person should categorize himself. So I can't say for myself, I'm Kanishta. Of course, I can express my humbleness, and this is what most of the devotees do. Doesn't really matter where they are. They will always say, oh, I'm Kanishta. Right. Well, I think it's a kind of humbleness, or sometimes a subtle way of false ego as well. Oh, because I'm saying I'm Kanishta, see how great I am. This also happens. But we need to be very conscious about that. Hare Krishna, Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. What it's saying here that if you are initiated, then you are in this different type of the categories, isn't it? So if you are not initiated, you don't fall into any category.
If you got attached, if you got associated with devotees, you could still be considered as Kanishtadikari. But in Kanishtadikari, because there are also different variations, as I said, first is aspiring.
Yes.
So you could still be Kanishtadikari, but not the Kanishtadikari of the level where you got the initiation, but you are aspiring Kanishtadikari. Then you're sheltered Kanishtadikari, or now you're initiated Kanishtadikari. So we can say that way.
Okay. Thanks.
But again, there is no good or bad. It's not that Kanishta is neophyte. We like this morning I gave a class on Chaitanya Charitamrita, and one of the very first thing I said that I am relatively very new, and that's so true because some of the devotees I know in that forum, they were like 25 of us, and I think some of them they have been doing for 25 years. They've been in Krishna consciousness. Some of the devotees, they have written books. Some of them they have done, like I have done Bhakti Vaibhav, but some of them they have done even more. So it's not a comparison with anyone, but it's the understanding we need. That's why it says one should respect such a person within his mind as Kanishta. Why? Because very soon we are going to realize that we do need to identify devotees based on the kind of association we want from them or we need from them. Because, and sometimes the suggestion, later on we will read Nectar of Devotion, and Nectar of Devotion will say that one of the verse says that we should exchange how devotees interact with each other. Then there are 6 things we exchange. Devotees exchange 6 things, and one of them is the secrets or taking suggestions. Now, when we take suggestions, let's say we will take suggestions from 2 different devotees, and they might give very different suggestions. So we need to understand that who is Kanishta and who is Uttam. So we'll say, oh, that person is senior. We better follow his or her suggestion. So in that respect, we need to identify. Otherwise, not to disrespect anyone, and of course, not to feel yourself like, oh, I'm only very small and all. Doesn't really matter. What matters is that we are taking the name of the Lord and we are moving forward. It's not a milestone as such. Like somebody said to me, one of my Siksha gurus, who said, it's not a career path that we after this we will do this, after that we will do that. And I was about to start another course because I love doing courses. So I finished one, and from a couple of weeks time, I'm going to start another course. So, but of course, you learn a lot, you get associated with devotees a lot. So that's where we are. And we will, from next class, we will get to this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, which says, again, very similar thing about Kanishta Adhikari. And the another name in the Shastras is this. So we say Prakarta. And this is like Prakarta is from Prakriti, natural. So this is the natural Bhakta, Prakarta Bhakta, the very first natural instinct which comes through. So we will start from this verse and we will go further. And this is the verse I was saying. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 2, verse 47. And similar verses are there, 46, 45, which describes all these 3 different, Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam. This is what Prabhupada Ji has mentioned in the purport of Mantra 6. So with that, we will stop here. And I would like to inspire everyone for Kartik. So tomorrow, Kartik month is starting. Anything and everything we do in Kartik magnifies. And the reason I said anything and everything is like Vrindavan. When we go to Vrindavan, we say, if we chant at home here in London, if you go Vrindavan, we might get the benefit of chanting 1,000 rounds if you just chant 1 round there. It's very similar in Kartik. It says that it gets multifold. Different people say 100,000, somebody say million times. But what we can say that it gets multifold. But there's another thing, the downside. Same thing applies living in Vrindavan. That not only the good thing, but the bad thing also magnifies. So if we criticize someone, then in Kartik month, or if you live in Vrindavan, then that also gets multifold. So obviously the good thing, we try to do more. And the bad thing, that thing is, as you say, criticizing someone is one of those things. Parjalpa is a Sanskrit word, which is useless talk. Useless talk, which is not required. Doing that also is a kind of time waster, which we should not do, and which devotees don't do as per the scriptures. This is coming from Raghunatha Rupa Goswami ji. We will see in the scriptures. But from tomorrow, let's enjoy the Kartik mantra. Let's do Deep Dana every morning, every evening, at least twice. And Damodar Ashtakam, beautiful Damodar Ashtakam is there. I will share in the group. Otherwise, on YouTube, we can find Damodar Ashtakam. And let's try to read the lyrics. And if we can understand, let's sing that and then get to the nectar. With that, I'd like to stop here today. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hey, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you
Hare
so
Krishna.
much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hey.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.